intelligence, and based on that intelligence was able to attack and then kill members of the Wagner group and then members of the Malian military. You know, there's a war in there, and separatist groups are trying to take over Mali, and you know, it's not only Mali is affecting the other. In fact, it's part of the reason Burkina military rose up and Niger and all that. So based on that, they feel then it means Ukrainian authorities were involved in giving that intelligence. Not only that, were actually involved in the attack and the war there, supporting the separatist group. And so they feel once they are involved in that, then it means they have to alert the United Nations on what Ukraine is doing. Well, they've taken their issues there. And I would pray that the United Nations take that letter seriously and engage the parties. There's denial by Ukrainian authorities that they were not involved. In fact, the separatist group is also stated strongly that they didn't get any support from Ukraine. But because a top official in Ukraine made that statement, people who already are in war and want the opportunity to escalate the situation will definitely latch on and then try to make a case out of it. I want the UN Security Council to get them to the table and then to get Ukraine's position properly stated that they were actually not. We all know who the Wagner group is. They are from Russia. They are on commercial war, you know, path. What it means is that you can rent them to come and fight your battle for you. And that is what they've been doing. And it's a recognized body in Russia. And so if Russia is at war with Ukraine, and Ukraine sees that as nonsensical, there's the possibility that they can go in, because Russia is now their enemy. Wherever they find Russia interest, they can go to attack it. And that is part of the reasoning why Niger authority, Mali authority, and Burkina believe that indeed Ukraine came there. So let them get into the matter proper and settle it. The political ramifications are, if we don't handle it well, what it means is that the war is going to escalate, because Burkina and Niger are likely to go into Mali to support the Malian authorities to crash them, which means they are going to work hand in hand with the Malian authority, the Wagner group, and these two, you know, countries against the separatist group. If they, so what it means is that if they do that, then other countries who have interest, yes, will also come in. And you know, the Sahel group, the Arab nations and co, most of them are already interested in war. So it will be an opportunity for them to go in there. And it will mean West Africa will not be safe. Okay, either refugee issues will then, people will come down to safer zones, which includes Ghana, or it will give room for these notorious warmongers to then come into other countries that are peaceful and cause trouble. If they cause trouble too, they want to bring you into the war. Either you be on this side or you be on this side. So they will compel you to come and join the war, and it's going to be worse for the whole sub-region. It will not be peaceful for us, and it will affect economic issues and political issues and all that. And so we will entreat the United Nations, one, and two, the Peace UN Security Council, to take the matter properly as a matter of urgency and resolve it, so that there will be assurance that indeed Ukraine wasn't part. And what Wagner is doing, UN should take a position on that. How can there be a group in the world that says, pay for the services of war? I'm ready, I have my men. Once you are ready, we will come and fight for you. Commercial warmongers. What is that? And the UN is watching this. It's not the best. I think it's time we take a strong position on what Wagner is doing. And if we can, we need to crash it. NATO, what is NATO doing? Okay, what are the other groups doing for Wagner to be doing this? It's not good and it's not fair for the peace and security of the world. UN was set up because, you know, after the Second World War, you know, for peace. so that we will not have a third world war. Fortunately, so far, so good. There's been issues that show that it doesn't bring all the world's countries into the wars that happen. So UN is doing well. Let's see what we can do to keep it that way for the future.
Thank you, Mr. AC. Great submission. And I'm going to take your thoughts on this subject.
Let me also use this opportunity to say a very good morning to Pan-African TV and the viewers out there, as well as Mr. AC and your good self.
Thank you.
And a good morning to the good people of Adosu and Okwapeman. And let me also say that we are inviting you officially to come and cover our demonstration, which is coming off on the Tuesday, next week Tuesday, as 26th of August. We are demonstrating because of bad roads and bad living conditions. And so I know when I say this, Mr. AC is not going to agree with me, but I need to, because it is about time we demonstrate, even though we have just some few months for elections.
I think that deploy the drip harvester.
That's why I said that's why you will not be comfortable. But you see, no, we have not seen ours. We don't know where our MP is even. We can't even find our MP. So you join us in demonstrating so that at least. Anyway, and a very good morning to Mr. Bernard Ambata Yaramona. Today he's going for vetting. He wants to lead the PNC to become the president of the Republic of Ghana. So this morning. Don't worry. You see, it took somebody 2 weeks to become president in Senegal. So what's your problem? It took somebody 2 weeks to become the president of Senegal. So we even have more time, right? So I wish him good luck, and I know the good people in PNC are going to give him the mandate to lead the party. Let me just say something briefly on the West African story, because Mr. AC has dealt much into it. And what I want to say is that the peace that we are enjoying in the sub-region, we just want it to stay. And as a matter of fact, I think that the UN should take this matter up and attach all seriousness that they can, so that at the end of the day, we can continue to enjoy the peace that we are enjoying in the sub-region. I keep saying that, look, when there's war up, Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, it will affect us more. It will affect we Ghanaians, it will affect us more. So sometimes when you think that it is not going to affect you, then I don't know what you are thinking of. Because even when there's any war in this sub-region, Ghana is noted for accepting more refugees than any other country. And when it has happened, we all realize what happened when Liberia war came. Now they have even turned to become the landlords in Kaswa and its environs. So we need to look at this issue very carefully. And I think that sometimes when we talk about ECOWAS, I only keep telling people that it only exists on paper. Because when you go deep down, the reality on the ground is that there's no ECOWAS. Everybody is thinking of himself. But we should think, we should have a collective mind. We should think so that at the end of the day, when things of this nature happens, it doesn't affect the sub-region. Because when you travel, sometimes they will not say you are a Ghanaian. I'm coming from West Africa. And what is happening in West Africa? There's war. We don't like that. So for me, I think that I agree with what Mr. AC said. It is about time the UN take up this issue seriously. And hey, what are we doing to this group? this group who have turned themselves as contractors for war. I mean, it doesn't utter well for the whole world. So it is about time we condemn some of these acts and we move forward as a united front. That is all that I can say on that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nana, for that great submission. If you're just joining, this is still the newspaper review segment on Pan-African Television. Good morning, Africa. Some messages keep coming through on WhatsApp, and let me read a few and we can proceed to other conversations. Sal says, good morning, OHEMAA. NDC should not make a mistake to sign another death warrant under the guise of peace to pacify the ACHIAA mafia who've won not to hand over power and are doing everything to rig the aid at all cost. Indeed, the peace pact is a death trap for NDC because as NDC is playing by the rules, NPP is arming its party thugs with guns and police military uniforms to shoot people across the country with impunity. Beware of the elephant. He who sups with the devil must do so with a long spoon. Pa Willie, University of Ghana. Interesting. OHEMAA, kindly welcome Nana Nto back again on the show. He's doing well and very patriotic. Wonderful submissions from Nana always. This is Eben. What did the MPP members say about Wyoming's judgment debt? We are going to go into that. That is our second topic for discussion. Now, what would they say about the judgment debts? They have caused the nation through their irresponsible and arrogant conduct. Asanko, Santa Maria. Let me take this one finally. He says, Tomla Mankanso says the demands by the great, peaceful, loving NDC are necessary, genuine, and highly possible in any serious country. If the NPP and their surrogates really mean to ensure free, fair, and peaceful elections, they should immediately meet the demands which reflect the general desires and interests of Ghanaians. Justice is the bedrock of true peace. Meets the demands now. Say no to government-sponsored killings. And these are some of your messages. You can do well by sending more of these submissions. But of course, please be guided by the conversations we're having. We're having a West African-based conversation. So if you have any thoughts, submissions concerning that, please do well to share with us. Let's move on to our next topic for discussion. And it's very interesting. These are allegations that have sprouted on our news, and it has to do with the $50 million used to feed athletes during the African Games, which happened in March. Now, there has been a breakdown of this amount because people think it's outrageous. Now, $15 million converted to Ghana cedis is 225 million Ghana cedis. For 5,000 athletes. They competed in the games for 18 days. Now, when this 225 million Ghana cedis divided by 5,000 athletes is broken down, you get 45,000 Ghana cedis for each athlete. That means that for the 18 days, each athlete spent 2,500 Ghana cedis on a 3-square meal a day. That means when we, do the distribution, breakfast is going to cost 833 Ghana cedis, lunch 833 Ghana cedis, dinner 833 Ghana cedis. This still remains an allegation, but then when we do the breakdown, this is what we get. Now let me start from you. What are your thoughts on this?
Thank you. Sometimes I feel sad when I see some of these figures. But you see, I don't blame the people who write these stories. I blame the managers of this economy and the way they are handling things, as well as the parliamentarians. You approve, and it is the parliamentarians who approved the monies for them. didn't they see the breakdown whilst they were approving over, I think it was the games, how much did they approve? It's almost about $250 million, right? 245. Yes, $245 million. And so wasn't there any breakdown for them? Sometimes when issues come up, after we have finished chopping the money, then we begin to talk about it. When they brought the whole budget to Parliament for them to debate on, wasn't there a column where you have feeding and how much was quoted for that feeding? That is my worry. Because if you have a whole parliamentarians of about 275 people in Parliament to make sure they check all these things, and at the end of the day, when we are done with the games, all these stories comes up, then we should be worried as a country. It means that what work are they doing there? Because the thing went to Parliament, right? Or it didn't go to Parliament. It went to Parliament. And so nobody saw it. Now you are a chairman of the select committee of sports in Parliament. You are now telling Ghanaians that they spent $50 million on feeding. What does it mean? And what do you want to tell Ghanaians? Or what are you trying to insinuate? Does it mean that you waited for them to squander the money and then you come out and tell Ghanaians that, look, this is how much we have spent, and so go after them? No. You are supposed to make sure you punch holes in whatever people bring to the floor of Parliament. You don't have to wait till everything is over, then you come out to tell Ghanaians that this is how much we have spent. So what do you want us to do now? What do you want Ghanaians to do? That's my question. You see, sometimes it's like, I keep telling people that, look, what is happening in Parliament is like, you scratch my back, let me scratch your back. But sometimes when things don't go on well, then some of these stories will come out. If somebody tried to outsmart someone, then I'll say, let me go out there and blow it. That is what is happening. Because I don't see the reason why this is now coming up. When did we have the games? Was it not in March?
In March, yes.
We are in August. 3 months to elections. Some of these issues are coming up. And look, I heard GBC also saying they only received $105,000 instead of 3.6 million. And I laughed. If you have a contract with someone, and at the end of the day, in the contract, you decide that, look, A, B, C, D is what I needed, so that at the end of the day, I can be able to execute the contract. Now, what you need to do is that you make sure the person pays the money to you. If even you are going to do sublet some of the contract to somebody, you still have to get the money, so that at the end of the day, you go ahead to pay. But what did they do?
They went ahead to perform the terms of the contract.
And then now,
there was no consideration.
Now, who is to be blamed? You see how they are ruling this country. And we'll come sit here and we'll talk. We'll talk, and nothing comes after that. That's how come I sometimes side with Alan Chemante. He said the government of the day, which is MPP government, all that they know is NATO. And do you understand NATO? No action, talk only. So we'll come and sit here, we'll talk, and then instead of them to be taking the actions are not being taken. $50 million for feeding 5,000 athletes for 18 days. We were in lockdown for 21 days. The Minister of Finance even came out to tell us that they spent only 50.1 million Ghana cedis. We were complaining. Now, feeding just 5,000, and even that 50.1, they fed people in Greater Kumasi, Greater Accra, Kaswa, right? And it was 50.1 million. Now you are feeding 5,000 people, and this is the figure. Why do you want to destroy Ghana?
But the concern is also with the fact that the games may have started with 5,000 athletes, but as it goes, you know the way sporting competitions are. If you don't qualify, you drop and go home. You don't have to hang around. So that means till the end of the games, the numbers could have declined. Would have declined.
That's the point. That's the point, because even with the football, when you are kicked out, you go back to your country. You understand?
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised, because when we talk about the athletes, it includes the officials, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes people will even come with 7 athletes with about 25 officials. Yes, that's Africa for you. So, in as much that we are talking about this figure, we need to sit down as a country and ask ourselves, why all these things? Because we go and borrow to make sure that things go on well. The person who is giving us the money realize that, look, you are able to spend such monies on, let me put it, useless ventures. At the end of the day, what are you there to show for? I quite remember that, look, we were even of the view that, look, because there's COVID, you know, because of COVID, they moved these games to this year. Then, yeah. So we were saying that, look, because of COVID, we are hard pressed. We can decide not to host the games. But he said, no, we still want to host it. The good people of Nungwa gave them OHEMAA, big land, vast land, for them to construct the game village. The game village was supposed to have housed all the athletes, and make sure all the games are being held there. Do you know the game that was held there? It was only swimming. Even table tennis was played in a hotel. Table tennis was played in a hotel, simply because what they did was not up to the standard of what Olympic Games is supposed to be. So you ask yourself, where are those contractors? What has happened to those contractors? Now churches have taken over OHEMAA Stadium, sports complex. The rest of the land, they are sharing it amongst themselves. So we keep hurting Mother Ghana with our expenses, our expenditure, and what have you. See, these games, most people who, the suppliers, most of them have not even been paid. Meanwhile, all the monies have been released. All the money, so unless maybe Mr. AC will tell me that there's still some debt to be paid. But so far as I'm concerned, my checks, everything that I have seen, indicate that they have paid everything. That is how come they were able to say they have paid GBC 3.5 million. And they are saying, no, we just received 105,000. So where's the rest of the money? Now, funny enough, the Ministry of Sports comes up with the agreement they sat down with GBC, indicating the figures that they will be paying. But there's a difference between sitting down with somebody to have an agreement and the difference of paying into an account. Because GBC has their own account. You cannot go and say, I am giving this money to person A in GBC, whilst they have an account. Now they should come out with the receipt that they have paid such an amount to GBC. Nobody has been able to come out with the receipt. So who then paid the money? Or because they knew of the companies that GBC wrote on the invoice, they have decided to secretly go and pay them. But that is not how to do things. And that is how come sometimes this judgment dams comes around about. Because you are dealing with me. Deal with me. Why do you have to pass my back and go and deal with somebody? Even with that, nobody has come to say that we have gone ahead to pay them. So where are the monies? You see, the way we waste our monies in this country is becoming too much. And if somebody doesn't go to jail, we will not stop. If a politicians or a group of politicians are not jailed for the way they squander our money, all these things will not stop. $50 million to feed 5,000. When you were doing the calculation, you said it means that if you are eating breakfast, it's 833. Lunch, 833. Abba, where? What kind of food?
That's the question.
So is it a full goat? Is it a full goat meal?
Someone said we're eating horses.
No, but this is serious. You see, if you want to steal properly. Don't steal in this manner. Because when you steal this manner, God is watching you. And you see, that is how come these days we are suffering when we go to borrow. Because they've realized that we have the money, but it is because of bad managers. It is because we don't know how to manage ourselves. That is how come we always run to IMF, and then they will come and manage our affairs for us. But if you are able to manage yourself properly, these monies, look at the number of stadiums we have. Most stadiums are not even to the standard. So as a ministry, if you have such an amount, why don't you pump some into your stadium? Renovate them, make it become a standard for CAF to even come around and say, no, now Ghana, you have invested in sports. We don't invest in sports, but we always want to say we want to win cups. How can we win a cup? With a Sakura pitch. And all of a sudden, all that we are showing for is ASTROTEF. ASTROTEF. What is the size of the ASTROTEF? What is the size? What is the capacity? How many people can ASTROTEF accommodate? How many supporters? And we pride ourselves. We are doing this. How much is the cost of one ASTROTEF? Even let's assume that you want to construct ASTROTEF in all the various districts. You could have used some of this money to do that. And nurture talent so that we can win cups. Now, if Ghana is playing football, I sometimes switch off my TV because I realize, this one, if we don't exit from first round, we exit from second round. Because we have the boys who can play. But the pitch one is not good. The way and manner we also play, it is not even to the standard. And when they go out there, they perform. Why do they perform? Because they have what it takes. The facilities are good. We can also have such facilities, but because we don't have better managers, because we don't know what the future holds for us, because we have old men who think that let's do whatever we can so that at the end of the day we have just some few years ahead of us. They don't think about we the youth. They don't think about us. If they think about us, people will not be squandering such huge sums of money. We need to be serious as a nation. Some of these things, sometimes when our kids read about them, they keep asking, Daddy, so you were on television defending this. And sometimes it marvels me. They watch us. They watch us. People will come and defend this. People will come and defend it. How much is breakfast? Even the most expensive hotel in this country, would the breakfast cost 833?
The buffet.
It's okay, OHEMAA.
All right, Nana, thank you so much. I'm going to go to Mr. AC shortly, but before that, let me just read these messages. It says, considering the way the UPNPP tradition has been destructive and lawless in this country over the years, wouldn't it be prudent to ban that political organization? I'm sorry. I don't think that is possible from operating in the country. After all, didn't they ban Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's CPP from operating in the country on a different political dispensation? Asanko. So I say, hi, it's sad NPP uses every state's business as a Ponzi scheme to create, loot and share state funds after promising zero tolerance for corruption and swearing with the Holy Bible to protect the public purse. Did they feed their sportsmen with 15 million on cows or elephants? May God deliver Ghana from the hands of these nation wreckers and neo-colonial masters masquerading as rulers. Let me take this final one and Mr. AC will come in. Says NPP and NDC are twin brothers. They do everything together. And at the end, when one is cheated, the other one cheated pretends as if they knew nothing about it. Now, the Public Accounts Committee is after poor teachers for just 118,000 Ghana cedis, while our politicians are squandering huge amounts of money without accounting for it. They are all criminals and thieves. Amagana, say Mandela from Ahafo, Kenya. Say, Mr. George AC, I'll take your thoughts.
OHEMAA, thank you. We are in election year. Some people are professionals and experts in propaganda, and that is what they cut their teeth with. And so they decide that this is the time for propaganda to fester. People are not mindful of going into the details. They just see the headline, they run to town with it. And so, oh, let's just throw it in there. $15 million spent on feeding athletes. No detail is provided by the ranking member, or is it the chairman of the education committee? No details. And we are running to town with it. And we are concluding people have stolen money. Is that how we build a country? We are concluding people have stolen money because in your speculative mind, you take calculator and you do, and that is concluded that 800 and so was spent. What are the things that went into it? Breakdown as chairman. Once you want to speak about it, you release the details and the breakdown that has been submitted to you because it's been given you. That's why you're talking about it. And Anna said, it came to Parliament. They saw it. They never spoke about anything. They approved it. Okay? And they are telling me, OHEMAA is saying he didn't see that the budget appropriation for feeding the athletes, 5,000 or 2,600 or whatever of them, was incorporated in the budget that was brought before Parliament, and they didn't raise anything about it. They were not alarmed, that like what now people think to be alarmed about. Look, I would want to get the details of the breakdown. True, there are hotels in this country that you can go for breakfast and you pay over 500 cedis. Snack and other things you can pay. If you eat fufu, you are paying close to 600 cedis in some hotels in this country. Okay? So what are we talking about? And if you're going to take water and cool, there are hotels in this country that hot water can cost you about 50 or 100 cedis. So get your reporters, let them go find out. In this country, okay, if you travel around you get to realize some of these things in some of the hotels we sleep in. The food they give you, sometimes you arrive and they will say, okay, take your stipends and you pay for the food, apart from the hotel. You know, the hotel comes with the breakfast. Lunch, supper, they give you your stipend, you pay for it yourself. You get it? And some people decide they will eat in the hotel. They will go outside of the hotel and go and eat. You get it? Because they look at the cost. And some too, they box it up and they give contract to people to feed them, like the athletes. I definitely know there's going to be contract given to people to feed them. If not the general food, maybe some other things, it will be done. So I would want to wait. I'm careful to run to town with that 15 million is outrageous or is within, till I get the fine details of the expenditure then. Do you know why, OHEMAA? We are here, Nana spoke about it, okay? The statement by the Director General of GBC, a professor, an academic. You go before and then you tell the Honorable Member of Parliament, Sam George, and the Finance Committee, the Public Accounts Committee, that, listen, the professor is a professor. He used his word, he chose his word carefully. He said GBC earned only 105,000, and it's true. GBC earned only that, and it's true. He didn't go further to give details. That's mischief. The professor was deliberately mischievous.
Why do you say that?
I'm going to tell you now. Do you know why? Now the professor said they just end this. And you know what? When the thing All African Games was coming, they wanted the state broadcaster to host the transmission across the state. Most times when we are playing football, the right is given to GBC and the others, Pan-Africa, Metro, TV3 and Co, go to take it from there. And so when you're watching it during that time, you see GBC logo and insignia on the interface. Yeah, you all tap from there because we want to promote the state broadcaster. You get it? And when they did the assessment, the state broadcaster itself went to the committee, Ministry of Finance, Youth and Sports, and told them, no, before that they don't have the production capacity to carry everything across to the world. They don't have the production capacity. And so if we want them to go, but the ministry and government insisted it should be the state broadcaster that takes the platform, right? And that is properly. And so they said then they will have to outsource some of their productions. So they brought international bodies in to help, do a proper professional production. Do you know what? Now I referred to some letters, but he decided not to go into details for obvious reasons. Okay? I'm going to read those letters. OHEMAA, the good professor, who is the Director General of GBC, who said GBC, when the Minister of Youth said 3.6 million has been expended, he came straight with his demeanor some way, as if he knew nothing about what the minister was talking about. Interestingly, when the internal memo was released, the professor, who is the Director General, wrote those memos. OHEMAA, he wrote those memos. And in those memos, 2 memos are out. Do you know that? Let's read them and see. That's why I want to use this as a basis for the 15 million, so that we get the details and we can then interrogate it properly. Okay? Please, we are building a nation, and our government is serious about states.
300 and the monies for GBC.
Yes.
The money is supposed to go to GBC.
Yes. 3.6
million. They say they earned 105,000 euros.
It was mischievous. I'm coming. Now the end was correct. That's what they got.
Earned.
Yeah, they got that.
So what
money
came about with the 3 million?
That's what I'm reading to you.
Okay.
That's why his own memo, Professor Alassane, signed Professor Amin Alassane. He wrote the memo. Let's listen. Request for approval of contracts and invoices for 13th African Games broadcasting services. Following the appointment of GBC as the official broadcaster of the 13th African Games 2024, I hereby submit contracts and invoices that GBC has to commit and sign up for the delivery of specialized broadcasting services. The list of service providers and the corresponding contract sums are as follows. PGS, 2.056 million euros. Quality Media Productions XL, 1 million USD. The production room TPR, 57,030 euros. Silicon Productions, 165,000 euros. GBC 24-hour African Games channel support, 105,000 USD. And then Positive Communications, 20,000 USD. OHEMAA, GBC requires the approval of the ministry in order to commit. It is the expectation of GBC that the Ministry of Youth and Sports will provide the funds to pay for these invoices. We stand by for your urgent response of approval. This is it. The ministry has received it, stamped it, and all that. That's one. Now, Nana said something that we've seen these invoices, but we've not seen payments, receipts. It's true. But there's a second letter.
I'm interested in payments and
no, there's a second letter.
Right.
Listen. From the same Professor Alassane. Outstanding payments for the production of All African Games 2023 I write to bring to your attention the total outstanding payments that are due to the production companies that were contracted as service providers. The attached breakdown shows payments already made, executed, and what is left to be paid. I plead that action be expedited on the payment of the remaining balances. Thank you. Yours faithfully, Professor Amin Alasa, Director General. And this is OHEMAA. This is the list. Okay? Right. Watch it. Okay. Proposed payment schedule. So, name of company, PGS. Total amount due, 2,056,534, maybe euros or dollars or whatever. Then, previous payment. He wrote that. What has been paid already is $700,000.
Previous payments, couldn't that be an outstanding previous payment?
No.
Or something
this the first memo. That's why I read the first memo. You get it? Due. Payment due is this. You listen, please. Let's not rush. Okay? Then current payment, 700,000. Okay? So balance 845,069. So check it and see. You get it? Then let's go. Don't worry. Let's go to the second one.
When you are done.
Okay? Then we can quality media production, 1 million. Okay? Previous payment, 1 million. 160,000. Then the next one is 164,000. Balance 675,000. He is acknowledging, payments have been made. These are payments that he is saying have been made. No, take your pen and write. Because when you were doing your propaganda and your mischief, I was sitting here.
I have everything.
When you were doing your mischief, I was sitting here. I just took my pen and I was writing. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. So these are the issues. So payments and co. So previous payments, we have 1 million, and then we have another 970,000, and then we have 172 whatever. You get it? Outstanding that he's requesting. And the minister said he has sent the 3 million based on the request of the Director General. The Director General, in fact, instructed the minister to make some payments direct. The minister sent 1.5 million and then 1 million through GBC as the host company, and then upon the instruction of the Director General, paid other production houses directly 1 million. So what is the? So if you come before the Public Accounts Committee and they mention 3.6, and you wrote memos and co, and you pretend that it is news to you that you only earned 105. Yes, that's what was due GBC for the work they did. What about the other ones that you recruited to do the production for you? Because you didn't have the capacity to do your work. You get it? And then people run to town with this, that people are stealing money. You know why? Because of the previous committees in 2014 World Cup and others. People want equalization. That, these people too are stealing things. Look, when this was brought out, people are quiet now, especially on this GBC one. That the whole same professor who said he knew nothing. He pretended he knew nothing about any 3.5. When he negotiated these engagements and all that, it's sad. And people, the Ghanaians, are running to town that people are corrupt, people are stealing. Please, let's get into the details. A ranking member or chairman of the committee has come out that 15 million has been expended on food. Let us have the breakdown.
Right.
Once we get the breakdown, because the total budget for this was about $245 million, and we know the stadia and all that were built, the Boteman and co. And I tell you, some were making some argument about Morocco hosting something, and the expenditure Morocco did vis-a-vis what we did at that time, ours was far better because Morocco had the infrastructure in place because they had hosted an earlier one.
Yeah.
Who were building new to host the games. So please, let us be hasten slowly, get all the facts right, then we'll be able to properly interrogate these matters, okay? And not jump into conclusion. Look, when people use $20 to buy coconut in Brazil, well, in this country, people they didn't say anything. Those who are pontificating today were quiet when we raised those issues. So today, if you're telling me $50 million, what is the expenditure pattern? What is it? Because there are some countries that maybe they have a standard per money that they will give them for feeding. And so you need to meet that standard if these are coming. You get it? I suppose, was there anything like that? Is there a country that says these are the things we take for breakfast, lunch, and co, and so you must meet that standard? Is there something like that? Let's get the details.
But Stacey, the concern, it's not only about the $15 million that was expended on food for the athletes.
Yes.
We are not even doubting the possibility of that 15 million.
No, we're doubting. That's why it's a major topic here.
To an extent. To an extent.
The MP who just sneaked it out.
To an extent. To an extent.
Yes.
However,
yes.
when we even look at the conditions surrounding the games itself, why couldn't these monies be cut down and some of these portions pumped into ensuring the quality of the circumstances that surrounded the games?
I don't understand.
Nana made mention about that.
Whether there was no part for them. We completed the University of Ghana. But
there were so many complaints during the games.
Everything there'll be complaints.
No, but
even this program, people sitting at home will complain about the production.
Of course, they do that through the messages. I'm going to read more messages. But Mr. Iti, I get you, and we appreciate the breakdown that you have done on the show. I think that it is prudent that your other communicators do so.
Oh yes, definitely. So I have a problem with the Director General. I have said elsewhere that if I were the authority, I'll fire him.
You see,
I'll fire Professor Ami.
He's quick to give us a breakdown of the memo that the Director General said. I said, I want to see receipts.
Right.
If you make payments to an institution, there should be receipts. Why aren't you bringing the receipts in the public? Why aren't you bringing the receipts in the public domain?
Do you know what? No, do you know what I'm doing?
No, you see.
No, I'm not cutting you, Nana. You're a chief. I'm your subject. I'm not supposed to even interject. But let me tell you what you are refusing to acknowledge. What I pointed out, which Nana is refusing, these memos were signed by the man who alleges he only got 105,000.
Listen.
And he is now acknowledging he made some payments. Are we okay?
The point is, listen, the point is, you can write a memo, sign.
But no, he hasn't just written a memo. He has written a second one with.
Alright, let's get a clear opinion. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Michael Lee, your boy Adam. He has joined us. Let's get a clear opinion. Let's get a clear opinion.
I don't see the
receipt. If these letters were coming from the minister, I would agree with Nana that it should be received. No, this is coming from the man who is making the allegation. But you are giving me some payments.
If I pay money to you, would you give me receipt? If I make
you didn't have receipt, you write that.
Alright, let's get a third opinion. Good morning. The Don is in the building.
You bring me receipt.
The Don is in the building. Mr. Isi, we'll get you to that. Let's welcome the Don. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you, and greetings to you.
Yeah, and the penalty for being late, you paid to me.
Don't worry. We will talk about that.
Yeah.
But I have to prepare for OHEMAA, and so sorry for getting here late. I can understand why Wusi was shouting more. He didn't want me to talk. Anyway, but I'll still have my say.
You came late. Yes.
Yes.
So you don't have to just go there.
Well, you see, this issue about the All African Games, money spent, and all that of what happened with regards to the GBC and all that. Well, let me start from where he ended by saying that, well, there were others who actually bought coconut for whatever. You have been in government for 8 years. If there are wrongdoings, that is why there was a change for you, competent as you claim to be, to deal with those issues. You have failed for 8 good years to deal with those issues. You don't come and sit here and rant. Again. Look, we have been in the public space for some time. We know how things work. If you have a head agreement with GBC, right, and you want to subcontract, then what you do is that GBC would have to have contract with all the other service providers, because you have actually put out a head contract with GBC stating a certain specific amount. You cannot bypass GBC and yourself have other contracts with other people. And please let me speak. You have had your time. Let me speak. Now, if GBC claims that this is what they got, rightly so, the Director General had used the word benefit, which could mean profit, which means that they might have spent something, and this is what actually came to them as profit, whatever it is. I am saying that if you pay others for whatever reasons, you can have a contract, or you should have a contract with them. You don't even need to show us receipts. Where are the contracts you signed with them? Maybe you need the OB van of, let's say, Pan Africa, because of course GBC will not have enough OB van to actually man the whole activity, and which was indicated, right? So you want to go and have it with another person. Where is the agreement? Because government cannot just enter into deals with people without papers or proper contractual agreement to it. I am saying that if GBC was not paid the full amount, the $3.6 million, for GBC to then onwardly pay the other subcontractors, then the ministry or whoever claimed to have paid the $3 million must show us the contract they had with the other service providers. Finito. Anything less than this is irresponsible, incompetent, and corrupt. There is no excuse to it. We have all lived in the public space, and we know how things work in there. The talk about the fact that other countries spent less, we did far better, and all that. Look, are you placing Ghana in the same pedestal of Morocco economically, in terms of muscle? Look, when we do these all-African games and pick on all these games, it is also about tourism, to showcase the country and all that. So there are people who go beyond the ordinary, just the games. So Morocco can choose to put all spices on this, and that could cost them more. That does not mean that you have been effective, efficient with costs in terms of Ghana. So you see, you don't compare apples with oranges. You don't do that. Now, the other aspect of it is that most of the event centers were already built or partially completed. It was not as if the Legon stadium was built overnight. And it was not as if the entire costs of building the place belongs to the project, the All African Games project. No. The Bukom Boxing Arena that was used was long built. Botema, was it built from scratch? I'm not aware of that.
Yes, it was.
Yes, so that could not be that the entire facilities that were used were actually carved up from these projects. So the distinction must also be made clear. How much was a contribution from government towards preparing these event centers. I mean, why should we be asking for all this if truly the people who claim to be more transparent than a white sieve find themselves in government and in the helm of affairs, directing the flow of capital? Why should we all be asking questions? Why are we even saying someone, so if I was there, I will fire? It's not about if you are there. It's about the system that works. And that is why we put you in government, to give us a system that works. So if we have to come back here and be asking pertinent questions, unable to find answers to it, and we will be guessing. We will want to see the contract. We will want to see receipt. We will want to see this. Then, of course, somebody has not done his job well. There is no excuse to incompetence. You were put there to do a job. And one of the major demands of the job is to be transparent and accountable. If you have been transparent enough, I wouldn't be questioning some of the things here. Nana wouldn't be questioning. You wouldn't be questioning.
Mischievous reasons you do it, like you're doing now, like Nana is doing.
Well, provide me the answers. Provide me the answers.
He's ignorant of a lot of things.
Okay, so what I am ignorant
even
of.
the issues you're talking about were discussed before the competitions began. The cost of stadia and all those things.
What was the cost of the stadia?
In the public domain.
What was the cost of the stadia?
Total budget, $245 million. All of them were discussed.
Went into what? $245 million went to the completion. $245 million went into the completion of what? Boteman, and then Legon, and then where again?
Yes, sir.
Those two. Do you know what $245 million could do? It could build a new modern stadium.
They renovated Legon.
Please, shelve it. What is about ignorance?
Can you imagine that?
You have been incompetent.
Ignorance.
You have been incompetent.
All right, let's hear from our viewers. They've got something to say as well.
There's a release from the Ministry of Youth. Is here?
Yeah.
Because they both
What
said,
is the release
they both
saying?
said GBC doesn't.
What is the
monies
release?
were paid directly. Release were sent to GBC direct. 1.5 million from ministry to GBC for those payments, and 1 million was paid upon the instruction of this Director General. That pay OHEMAA because OHEMAA did ABC. Pay. So where they receive?
Are we talking about 1 million? Are we talking about 1 million?
So
or we are talking about 3
because the GBC Director General himself was mischievous.
But he acknowledged the receipt of 105,000.
Yeah, that's what he said.
The request.
And this is his table that he gave.
The ministry also insisted they have paid a 3.5.
Yes, so we have transferred 2.5 million to his account. No, he should tell us he didn't receive any 2.5 million.
If he says that the GBC director is incompetent, is it me or the NDC?
I'm not saying he's incompetent.
What are you saying here?
I'm saying
He was mischievous.
But anybody who is mischievous at his head is what?
It's a deliberate thing he was doing. Okay?
In his estimation.
In his estimation to the minister, signed it, and yet
As part of government, he does not have the right to estimate things here. No, he is part of government. He is not here to estimate
you to read before you go to them.
We are not interested in letters.
I am interested in the Ministry of Youth and Sport.
So
You came without knowing anything. You came here without knowing nothing about
All right, Mr. Issa, I'll give you the opportunity.
no fact about
But this one is quite interesting. It says,
before coming here.
okay, let's.
OHEMAA, good morning. Let me know if you have AC. Oh.
I think we come here today.
No, why? Our viewers are very radical. What's this? It's asking whether we have AC in our studio. We have 3 solid ACs here, functioning ACs. Because Mr. AC is he's a bit active this morning, as always.
if you see, when you engage people and they don't have the facts, sometimes it's irritating.
We get that. All right, so this one says, hi, OHEMAA. Hi, OHEMAA. It's obvious MPP uses every state's business at Ponzi. I think I've read this one.
These are documents.
Good morning, OHEMAA. Why is Mr. Isi not telling us the evidence from the ministry showing how the monies were paid to GBC and the other third parties, and rather resorts to GBC memo, which does not amount to payments? This area of evidence of the ministry is not far-fetched to disprove the claim of GBC from their own office. They shouldn't think Ghanaians are
doing mischief.
Timothy.
I say you didn't give me money, and yet I have written a letter requesting money from you and acknowledging that you've given me some money.
Okay, so
all right, this one says, good morning, OHEMAA.
Let's see the date.
Please, let's listen to what our viewers have got to say. Good morning, OHEMAA. When the bullets are shot against MPP, they say it is a propaganda, but when they shoot at others, they say it is a truth. The whole truth is nothing but the truth. Before MPP came into office, 122 billion USD was an embarrassment to Ghanaians, and that they have nothing to show for 122. Today, MPP is in office and have taken 842 billion USD for their period of administration. They say they have brought lots of development that we can't see or feel. Hospitals, roads are in deplorable states. Workers are poorly paid and heavily taxed, are still being taxed. Where are all such monies? But why has the debt stock gone more than 400%? Members of this government,
1,200%.
before they came to power, were worse than church mice. But today they have miraculously become tycoons and business moguls. Mr. Isi should know that the Ghanaian is blessed to be intelligent and will come at them at the appropriate time. They should not say they are being witch hunted.
They're just
messages coming through. Says, good morning, OHEMAA. Tell the NDC if they don't prosecute these corrupt NPP people, God will surely disgrace them too. Naz from Tamale. Good morning, Pan-African TV. Tell the MPP man to admit and speak the truth. Peter Tin Dazo from Bolga. All right, OHEMAA. AC is always talking about ignorance. Please tell him he shouldn't use such words. Okay. Ernest from Akuse.
I'm ignorant about the issue. I'm ignorant about it.
Ignorance simply means not to know. So I don't think it's derogatory.
Ignorance, no. I'm saying
ignorant. Right.
Yeah, so, okay. If I'm ignorant, so the topic, sometimes you can raise an issue and say I don't have the full facts about it.
All right, on that score, let me do this message. AEC has his day.
Before I sit here,
AEC has his day. No one interjected. Well, he has his day. No one interjected.
Yes.
Is he not being mischievous doing all these gestures?
No,
he is being mischievous. He should allow others to flow. Okay. Let me take two more and then we move on to our next topic. Good morning, OHEMAA. Ask Mr. Isi to respect me, the listeners. I think he respects you enough. He's just making his point.
If I don't respect you, I'll come and sit here.
Yeah, absolutely. OHEMAA, the way AC is throwing his hands, he may give the man close to him and not
He's my chief. I can't hit him. He's my chief. I only disagree with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a discourse.
Otherwise, I will climb the mountain.
It's a discourse. So it's allowed. Done.
There's something we must all learn.
Just a few minutes before few seconds, then we move to our next topic.
Yes, there's something we must learn, right? Yes, and when we come to public space like this to have discourse, we must tend to educate those out there. You know, we don't just make payments from government, right, with letters. It doesn't work that way, right? There are warrants that are issued from the Ministry of Finance to the Accountant General before payments are made. There are records, there are payment vouchers raised by the Accountant General Department before payments are made. If there is any doubt about payment or an argument between two offices of government about a payment, Where is the warrant? Where is the PV? Show it to us and shame the man if you claim he's lying.
Memos
don't get anyone paid. Memos don't get anyone paid. You are showing ignorance and exhibiting ignorance.
That I've written memos and followed up. Payments made, vouchers taken and signed.
Where are the vouchers? Where are the vouchers?
Once I put these memos out to tell you that I've made the payment, it tells you I have the vouchers supported.
So why don't you bring it up?
Are you listening to this? No, the memo, you see, the details of the vouchers, you don't know. These are internal memos, shouldn't have been made public.
Who told you? They are public documents. They are public documents.
You can recover because of
They are public documents. Don't come and... No, I'm serving you your own pie, you know. I'm serving you your own pie.
No, we can destroy that.
I'm serving you your own
She
pie.
knows.
All right,
we can go on that tangent.
So-
I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I'll play
Mr.
more.
AC.
OHEMAA, if you want us, we'll play more.
No. Let's move on to the memo.
Thank you. Now let me show you this.
We can play the ball.
Yes, I'm ready for it. This time, I'm not joking. OHEMAA, please. This is a memo from the Youth and Sports. The first two I read was from GBC. Okay? And I'm saying that I went out, told the world that I had only 105,000. Then a document is released with my signature that I wrote and acknowledging I paid other agencies. You get it? That's the thrust that Nana doesn't want to admit. That's the thrust of my argument. That I who alleged. Now there's evidence that I've paid more than 105. I got more than that. Now this sports ministry, this thing is this. I won't read all. Let me take from point F. Subsequently, on agreements, an agreement was reached between the two institutions, the ministry and GBC. You listed. From the total amount, 2.5 million was paid directly to GBC in two tranches. $1 million and $1.5 million on 13th March 2024 and 22nd May 2024, respectively. Listen. Another amount of $1 million was paid to third parties upon the instructions of GBC in accordance with the contracts. You get it? So GBC, the man who spoke, no. These ones will be produced when they'll be audited. The auditor will get it. No, this is enough to show that these are payments. No,
Maybe we should give it the
for the
benefit
public.
of the
Yes,
doubt, because it just emerged. Perhaps other documents will
you know,
Manager of the company.
No, even in front of the Public Accounts Committee, what did the minister? Minister was surprised that this man is making that statement.
But
What the man sought to do was that the minister has stolen something. You get it? Now the minister has brought this out, and he's right. There should be a warrant of payment and all that. It's true. Once you go, the auditor general goes, these documents will be put before them. When I make a request for money for the communications department, and I send a memo, I sign it. Okay? When I sign it and the director general approves it, the finance officer will then send it to my department, and I'll give it to the officers who are going to work on that.
Right.
When they finish, they'll bring the receipts and all the vouchers and co. I will then compile it, write this thing, and return this thing to the finance office.
Mr. Isi, that has been clear.
So when I make any statement, I have the documents to back it.
But sorry to truncate because we are hard pressed with time.
These are the facts. The two people who want me.
He's an owner. If he's the owner of a company,
he wants to do this.
if he's the owner of a
I respect
company,
my man, he knows that.
and his managing director
I humbly disagree.
comes to show him memos
Yes.
without receipt, will he be happy?
No.
No, not my managing director. No. You are doing propaganda.
That's not. I'll just ask.
Maybe we'll revisit the issue.
And I have documents.
Where are the receipts?
We'll revisit these issues, but due to time,
Yes,
we are so hard pressed with time right now.
No, the facts are that the person who alleged, there's evidence that he lied.
The clarity has been made.
It's a lawyer to be. He knows what I'm talking about. Are you right?
Let's just go straight to our next topic. We'll leave this conversation. And also, I think since it has just emerged, this subject precisely, we're looking forward to some of these accounts to be made, especially with receipt issues, among other things. But let's move on to our next subject, which is that the AG sets record straight on 111 million USD judgment debt. Now, this story has been captured by the Daily Guide newspaper. Says the Attorney General and Minister for Justice Godfrey Adame has set record straight on the 111 million USD judgment debt controversy, clarifying that no United States court has awarded a judgment debt against the government of Ghana since he took office. The story goes on to make all those clarities, but I want to take your thoughts on this subject. I'm sorry we can't go more than 15 minutes. We have less than 15 minutes actually, so I'll start with you, Don, and then we proceed in that order.
I think this issue is an old issue. Judgment has already been given against Ghana, and from what I understand, this is coming out of the default in terms of actually having to pay whatever we needed to pay, and there is another slap on our face in that regard. The bottom line of this is that it shouldn't have happened at all. Whatever the contractual terms were, we were supposed to have made sure that we respected it. The issue is some other people felt that it shouldn't be respected, and they could defend this case. Unfortunately, they failed. So we cannot speak about the secondary aspect of this issue when in fact the primary aspect is there for us all to know that when we enter into such contracts, no matter the government or the regime that entered into it, the onus is on us, because running a country is a going concern. You don't come and truncate everything your predecessors had done, and whatever comes after is basically because of lack of respect that we have for rule of law. Bottom line, I think this government clearly indicated that they understand law more than any other person, and we would have expected the best out of them. In time past, we criminalized judgment debts. We blame others. We call them incompetent because of judgment debts. Then how do we allow such things to happen right under those who claim to be the best of lawyers, to have all the legal brains here and abroad? And yet we fell for this, and we fell very flat. Whatever it is, whether true or false, we have a liability on our head which we would have to satisfy at any point in time, either now or tomorrow. I don't think that there is any indication that that decision, the initial decision, is being contested anywhere as well. So if there is any form of denial that Ghana has not been slapped with any such costs, I am saying that the primary issue still sits there, and we would have to satisfy it at some point. And that would mean that there will be some cash outflow in there. And it is a bit embarrassing when we get ourselves involved and locked with such issues, knowing what our physical space is currently. It doesn't speak well of us with a lawyer being the president.
All right, Mr. Easy.
Yeah, thank you. This issue, the contractual terms terms we thought were a bit hudious and apohodious. We decided that because of the take of pay and all that, we rushed into some. I understand the frustration then of President Mahama, because Tumso was really disturbing him and he desperately wanted to solve it. Good mind, good thoughts. But by doing that, he decided to bring on a lot of companies. And, you know, when we came and went through, we realized some of them didn't. The agreement is a bit something, so we can take steps about it. And we believe that if we contested it in courts, we will get the good reliefs that we will seek. So we decided to, you know, abrogate it. And then there are some that went and we won the cases. There are lots. You get it. This Attorney General Price himself, that he's saved the nation over, is it 10 trillion or so? Yeah, that which the president said in his State of the Nation address in the Parliament House of Ghana. So there's that belief that some of the contracts signed were too suspicious, and so we can do something about them. And these, is it the Trafigura issues and the G and Ghana Power Generation Company won. Unfortunately, when the issues went up, we lost the case, and a cost was awarded against Ghana. And in fact, we made payment of about 1.8 million initially, and then they went back that Ghana was not obeying the rulings of the courts. So we were compelled to get the payments done. And so that's how come it's gotten here. That's how come the Attorney General is saying, yes, it's the government of Ghana. We thought that the people who signed the contract didn't actually take a lot of things into consideration and committed the nation needlessly. Okay, and so if we want to go into this matter, we're going to bring those who signed and all that together. My brother is saying it may not be necessary, but sometimes because we accuse some people, a Supreme Court of the land said those people were judgment debtors. They were creating, looting, and sharing. I'm not saying it. The Supreme Court judge, Justice Doche, and his team, panel, that's their conclusion, that when they went into the details, definitely maybe if we go into the deep details of the basis of the signing of this contract, we may look at certain things. We will know what they entailed. Okay, so these are things that we need to look at. And so this contract and all judgment debts, yes, you may not win all. The most brilliant lawyer may not win all cases. It is there. Okay? Lord Denning, even Lord Denning and Cole, they never won all there. I love him because he was a mathematician before becoming a lawyer. I'm a mathematician as well, so I love, you know. So these are matters that we need to look at. It's not right. It's not good that we in this, but we thought we could have made the case successful. Unfortunately, it turned, because there are other cases that we went and we won. Right. You get it? And so that is the situation. Ghana has been, there's this charge, we need to go and make that payment. There are others that we won, which is good. Those that you lost, you must admit it and make good on that. But he said, as the Attorney General said, things we are talking about in the US and co, there's no such ruling. So let's stop the propaganda that we are feeding into the system.
So, Nana, let me come to you. Wrap up for us.
So at least there's going to be some payment, right?
As he said.
There's going to be some payment. And how much are we supposed to pay? How much are we supposed to pay to the company?
About 111.
111.
So if it is out there that there's a judgment debt of 111, and you come back and say you are setting the record straight, what kind of records are you setting straight? You understand? Sometimes no.
The UK one.
No, but the point is, you see, the point is
no. Just put it in the context. When this one came, people wanted to add some.
You see. You had your time. You had your time. You had your time. The point is, there's judgment debt. No, there's judgment debt, right? There's judgment debt. So what records are you trying to set again? No, but the point is that if we sometimes look at some of these contracts well, we review it, we may not end up paying such amount. why do you sometimes terminate contracts? Why? Is this because it is not your government who initiated those contracts? No, is it the Constitution compels you to do that? But that is how come there is handing over notes. That's how come we always have transition. That's how come when there's change of government, the two parties come together and say, look, this is where we started from.
The Attorney General read it and realized it wasn't worth it.
No, but the point is, we had a transition team, right? So what advice did the transition team also give the people who are taking over? If I have a company and I'm exiting, the person who is taking over, I will tell the person, I'm supposed to pay A, B, C, D. Okay, how come you are supposed to pay such an amount? Let's bring the people, sit them down. We don't have that funds. So can you do something about it? But you don't sit the people down. No, you see,
we abrogated some and one in court.
So it is not about you winning some of the cases. I'm talking about, there is book sense, and then what we have, home sense as well. You understand? Sometimes you have to fuse the two together.
Yeah.
If you don't fuse the two together, you always make mistakes. And of course, we all want Ghana to be better for us. And so when we are signing contracts, we don't sign it in the name of Party or Party B, we sign it in the name of Mother Ghana. And so when you come and you realize that maybe there are some issues in it, you sit down, have amicable solutions to it. You don't just go ahead to terminate it. After all, the money is not going to come from your own pocket. It's not going to come from the party. I am not saying waste money, but you can always negotiate. After all, you can always negotiate. And when you negotiate,
how do you know whether there was no negotiation?
So if there was a negotiation, how come we are supposed to pay?
You won't agree.
No.
But there's some of this take or pay. A lot of them they won't negotiate.
Oh, come on. I don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to that. Yes.
Some of these people did some serious things against
this. There is a need to actually clarify this take or pay issue.
Right.
It has been criminalized in the minds of people as if it is something bad. It is usual. It is ordinary in the negotiations of every power plant. There is one power plant in this nation. It is 60 megawatts. It is for a private person, and that I was part of the negotiations. And in there, this is a private man actually bringing these plants from Singapore. It's actually a hybrid. I actually gets feed from either gas or fuel. And even with a private company, there was a take or pay, because the assets, life that is spent here, somebody must take the cost for it. Nobody will put per megawatt $1 million in your country and say that if you don't produce, I don't get anything.
Right.
Please, let us stop speaking. What do you mean hurriedly signed?
All right.
The contract was not finished.
Today's conversations has been very insightful, very, very interesting. Let's hear this one. I read a few messages and we're out of here. Good morning, OHEMAA. Your panelists are doing great. I am a strong and die-hard MPP member, but the truth is that nothing is working. Everyone is chopping the taxpayer money left and right. I wonder why a right-thinking Ghanaian will still be bold to defend this route in the party. If you see any MPP person strongly, please let's hear from our viewers. If you see any MPP person strongly defending the party, it means he's protecting his job and stomach, not that he's aware of the route. I prefer we go to opposition and reorganize ourselves. The only solution now is in December 7, we send MPP packing. They cannot. All right, there are several other messages, but unfortunately, as I said, we are our time is up and we have to leave. But of course, the NDCs, they are launching their manifesto, and we cannot wait for the poking of holes. That will come after the manifesto launch.
They have incorporated it in their manifesto.
We are waiting for the poking of holes. It has been made clear.
In their youth manifesto. everything is already
that
there.
with about 319 manifesto committee, that was the only manifesto.
Member committees.
Yes, 319 member committees. And they came out with 4 pages. And at the end of
What's manifesto? No. What we have achieved and what we will do. Are you ready?
Alright, thank you so much. We really do appreciate your time.
We have achieved.
We really do appreciate your time this evening. It's always a pleasure to serve you and to bring the insightful conversation. This is the newspaper review segment on Good Morning Africa. My name is OHEMAA. ACHIAA AGYEKUM. See you.